Greetings, Ben Murray here with another edition of SaaS Metrics School. So I want to address a topic that's been coming up quite a bit lately in my client base, and this gets to customer counts, how we're tracking customer counts, churn, and retention. And this is the classic parent-child relationship. So let's just say we sell to Subway franchises and we have ownership groups of these franchises. So maybe you have Ben who owns just one Subway franchise, but maybe you have Tom who owns 20 franchises. And we have to track these explicitly because this can cause major issues in our customer count tracking and in our retention tracking if we don't know the units. So let's just call, the Subway, the ownership group as the brand and the Subway as the unit. So we need to know what units belong to what brands because we're going to track customer counts and retention, especially our MRR schedules and our retention schedules at the brand level and the unit level. Now, when we don't know what units are associated with what brands, we cannot track retention at that brand level, which is really important because that's going to affect whether we count things as expansion, as new, as contraction, as churn. Because, say, if I own 10 Subways and one of those closes or I sell one of them off, at the brand level, that would be contraction. But when we're tracking that at just the pure unit level, that would be churn. So there are two ways to track this on our retention schedules and our MRR schedules. And that's where we need detailed crosswalks of the ownership group, what they own by month, so we can keep track of that. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to track retention at the brand level because that's going to give you a different picture of brand retention versus unit retention. And I think it's going to be a more favorable picture for you at the brand level, calculating your MRR schedules, your churn and retention schedules. So I've seen this get really, really messy if we don't know, what units belong to what brands, the syntax, how we're naming units, how we're naming brands. When that's inconsistent, that just creates a nightmare trying to reconcile all this data and pull it together. So this gets to then our accounting structure, how we're invoicing, how we're naming those, and that the syntax of the names are consistent in our CRM system, consistent in QBO0, consistent in all the systems that we're using. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to pull all this data together to actually calculate true customer counts, unit costs, brand counts, and then resulting retention. So think about if you have that parent-child relationship, how are you tracking that? What's the syntax? Are you tracking this each month? And we have to get really detailed here because think about in a spreadsheet and doing VLOOKUPs off of customer names or brand names, unit names. That VLOOKUP is literal. So if we name it, Ben's Subway Denver, but then in another system it's Ben's Denver Subway, right? We're not going to be able to match those. So be very intentional about that process of invoicing customer names, how you're tracking all this data. Otherwise, as you scale, I've seen this, it just becomes so messy and it's so hard to untangle this. And again, coming up quite a bit in my client base, and we need to get around, get on this fast so we have a good data structure in place.